So let me ask you something. Are you using some of the most powerful technology ever created to proofread your emails? If that sounds familiar, you're definitely not alone. A ton of businesses are getting these really underwhelming results from AI. And it's not because the tech is weak, it's because they're talking to it like it's just a simple search engine. Today, we are absolutely going to fix that. Think of it this way. Imagine you hired a five-star Michelin star chef for your business, okay? This person is a culinary genius. They can create these unbelievable, world-class dishes. But instead of asking for a masterpiece, you just hand them a giant bag of onions and say, hey, could you chop these? I mean, it's a massive waste of incredible talent, right? Well, this is exactly how most businesses are using AI, and it's precisely why their results feel so all right, so let's completely reframe this relationship. I want you to imagine, just for a second, that you have Albert Einstein living in your basement. He has instant access to the sum of all human knowledge. He never gets tired, and he has infinite patience. He's just down there, waiting for you to give him a mission. This mental model, this idea, is what we call the Einstein persona. And it is such a powerful shift in your thinking. You stop treating AI like a tool that just fetches stuff for you, and you start treating it like a genius colleague. A colleague who is, yes, absolutely brilliant, but who needs you, the business expert, to give them clear, high-level direction so they can do their best. Okay, so how do you actually put this genius to work? Well, it all comes down to a really simple three-step framework. First, you've got to give your genius a specific job. Second, you provide all the mission-critical context. And third, you set clear guardrails to keep them on track. Let's break each one of these down. So first up, give your genius a job. This means you have to stop giving these generic commands. Asking an AI to write a marketing plan is kind of like telling Einstein to just do some science. It's way too vague. You need to assign a very specific expert persona. So, for example, instead of a generic request, you might tell the AI, you are an expert marketing copywriter who specializes in B2B SaaS companies, or you are a world-class facilitator and you're designing a workshop for senior sales staff. You see, assigning a role like this fundamentally changes the AI's internal reasoning, its tone, and the depth of information it pulls from to give you an answer. Okay, so once your genius has a job title, the next step is to fuel it up. And context is the fuel for your genius. Without it, even the most expert persona is going to give you a generic high school level answer because it has no idea what your specific business world actually looks like. So what kind of context does it need? Well, you got to tell it the why behind the task. Who is the specific audience? What are the actual business goals you're trying to hit here? And what's the exact outcome or format you need? The more your Einstein understands your world, the more it can spot patterns and offer you what feel like genuine superpowers for your workflow. Now, here's the thing. Even a genius has its quirks. We all know that AI can sometimes make mistakes or hallucinate information that sounds totally plausible but is completely made up. And that's why the third step, setting clear guardrails, is so essential. This is how you manage your genius. You can set guardrails by being really explicit. Tell the AI what topics or what kind of language to avoid. You can specify the exact output format you need, like, say, a JSON file or a markdown table. And here's a crucial one. You can even tell it when it should just stop and ask you for clarification if it's missing information. This makes the output not just brilliant, but also reliable and, immediately useful for your business. So this brings us to a really crucial point. AI is an incredibly powerful collaborator, but it is not a replacement for your expertise. You, the human expert, are always needed to evaluate the final result, to apply that final layer of judgment and strategic thinking. Never forget that. Okay, now that you have that three-step framework for instructing your genius, we can layer on what might be the single most powerful technique of all, turning your prompts into actual conversations. Instead of trying to write one single perfect, massive prompt, you can use a much more dynamic and iterative approach. A common fear for business owners is, what if I write this big prompt, but I forget to include some crucial piece of context? And that's a totally valid concern. It can lead to a kind of paralysis. But there's a beautifully simple solution. And the solution is right there in that quote. It's so simple. You just tell the AI your goal, and then you add this magic phrase. Before you start, interview me. Ask every question you need to know to provide the best possible result. This one sentence transforms a static command into a collaborative conversation. It ensures your genius has all the data it needs to really succeed. So what does this all look like in practice? Let's do a quick before and after just to see the dramatic difference in quality when you apply this whole persona-based conversational framework. And this just illustrates it perfectly. On one side, you have the before prompt, write a workshop plan. The result you get from that, it's going to be a generic, probably useless template. But then look at the after prompt. You are an expert facilitator. Interview me to create a workshop plan for 20 sales managers to improve their closing techniques. Can you see the difference? You've given it a role, you've provided context, and you've kicked off a conversation. The quality of the output doesn't just improve a little bit, it increases exponentially. It's a whole different ballgame. So the real takeaway here is that mastering this skill, it's not some niche technical thing for coders anymore. For any business owner looking to really leverage AI, prompt engineering, which is just the ability to communicate effectively with your genius, is becoming as fundamental as reading and writing. The only true limit to what this technology can do for your business really is your own imagination. You have a genius in your basement, ready and waiting for a mission. So the only question left is, what are you going to build?